Hey there, parents. Hope you're doing well. We're continuing through our book study here of Your Teenager is Not Crazy. This week for chapters 17 and 18, I want to do something a little differently. I really noticed 17 and a little bit with 18, but especially 17, a lot of great, I think, quotable information in there. And so I thought for 17 and 18, instead of just spewing my thoughts out, I thought I'd just read some quotes and give a few second pause. And if you want to pause the video, you're more than welcome to do that. Or you could highlight other ones that stick out, but allow you guys an opportunity to discuss and talk about these, because I think there were some things that really stood out to me that I think are going to be impactful for you. And so I'm going to jump right in to the first couple sentences on 184 in the booklet here. And it says, for Christian parents, statistics tell a grim story. Take these, for example. Somewhere between 40 and 50% of adolescents actively involved in church youth groups disconnect from God in college. And 80% of these teens intended to continue living a life of faith. And so we think of confirmation and what happens to students post-confirmation and then post-college. Some things to think about. Then on 185, it says, ultimately, whether adolescents stick with their faith or walk away is up to them and God. Continuing on, later on the 185, it says, close in the middle page, close to 200 independent scientific studies indicate that faith makes a noticeable difference in the structure and functioning of the brain. I'm going to flip the page to 186. About halfway down, a little over, it says, neuroscience shows that practicing faith not merely ascending to it makes a profound overall difference in anyone's physiology or psychology and how they develop. 187 just had something I thought was really great too. It says, it's talking about living a holy life, and 2 Timothy 1 verse 9. God has saved us and called us to a holy life. It says the word holy literally means being whole. So potentially without faith, without this relationship with God, how can we be complete as a person? On 188, it says, if all your teen hears are your complaints about church, believers who have disappointed or betrayed you, or you're too busy to pray or read the Bible, don't be surprised if he or she mirrors this back to you. Students and children will emulate what they see. 189, I love page 189. Talks about this 88-95 cycle, and man, this can be convicting. It says, according to research conducted with 11,000 teenagers, only 12% of youth have a regular dialogue with their mom on faith issues. Then it says 1 out of 20 kids, or 5%, has a regular faith or life conversations with their dad. And then only 9% of teenagers engage in regular reading of the Bible and devotions with their family. The chapter also includes have more frequent, shorter conversations about faith. It mentions our last book study, and I really encourage you, if you haven't checked out Sticky Faith or Growing Young or Growing With materials from Dr. Clark and Dr. Powell. And never explain something to your kid if you can ask a question instead. A lot of great stuff in this chapter, but I think it sums it up on 192. It says, if you're not living the gospel, you can't pass it along to your teenager. Now, a lot of great stuff to talk, so I encourage you maybe to pause the video, maybe you need to rewind it, go back, look at some of those quotes that I read. Let's jump ahead to chapter 18, where it says, starts off on 184, it says, teenagers are highly self-absorbed and rarely self-aware. It's one of the greatest mysteries surrounding adolescence, and arguably the most frustrating aspect of parenting them. On 196 in the middle, it says, because of this remarkable truth, the more adolescents are exposed to self-reflective thinking, first being guided in this process, then required to do the mental work alone, the better they will be, the better able they will be to assume responsibility rather than shifting blame. And so creating opportunities. I love when kids come on mission trips and get involved in things where we're forced to take on some responsibility and do it to serve Christ. 197 in the middle of the page, it says, for lasting change, your teen's heart must be transformed not just his or her behavior. What a wonderful prayer that could be. Bottom of 198. They don't realize that someone's pleasure often leads to someone's pain. Teens need to be trained to ask themselves, what will it cost other people for me to be happy in this situation? And so you may want to ask, it says, in order for you to go out, or insert whatever you want to do, and have fun with your friends, what do you think your mom, dad, siblings, whatever, what would they have to give up? And always remember that it's a process. I also like on 199, it says, give yourself 15 extra minutes for these battles, for these challengers, these things. I know time is precious, but if you know your kid's going to have a fit about something, having a margin of time can be really helpful. Moving on to 200, it really talks about how the teenage brain is, and they use the expression, my will be done. And it really talks about faith in God. And I think this is really important, that we're really trying to bring glory and honor to God and do God's will. But a lot of times in the moment, the youth can only see what's in front of them. And so the Bible says this, the Bible makes it clear, when the mind is focused only on the here and now, or the pleasure one can derive from it, godliness is impossible. The mind governed by the flesh is hostile to God. It does not submit to God's law, nor can it do so. Those who are in the realm of flesh cannot please God. And so when we're selfishly focusing on ourselves, we can't please God. On 201, in the middle, it says, as you fight this battle for your teenager's heart, expect your adolescent will struggle. You will too. You both are sinners in a broken world. You are fighting in a great war, and it's tempting to fight everyone except the real enemy. Allow your teenager to see that you are engaging in an ongoing battle with sin, the author of sin. It really talks about how Satan can work in our lives. Finishing up the chapter, it talks about delaying consequences and allowing your child to think about it, allowing you to think about it, and say, hey, I'm disappointed in your behavior, and this is something we can talk about. And tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. or tonight when I get to talk to your father, by 8 o'clock tonight, we're going to have a consequence. And it allows your child to think about it, allows you to think about it, maybe make the best choice, but also allows them to think about their behavior, and sometimes giving them that time to process allows them to maybe better recognize what they have going on in their life. Hope this different format was helpful. Again, I encourage you, maybe you need to go back. You want to pause the video on some different quotes that I read. I thought chapter 17 was maybe one of the better chapters in the book. I think they're all good, but I think that was one that has really stood out to me. And so blessings on your week as we continue to have more children be loved and sent, and we be godly examples to our children. Thanks so much.